What's up, gamers? This is it, the 50th subscriber special, the United UHC tier list, but before we get into any of that, I need to explain what United UHC is. So to put it very simply, this was made to bring all of the different parts of UHC recorded rounds, people together, and, well, united, hence the name. But although this had some great memories and some great moments, there's always going to have to be a worst. And that for me is Season 5. Now the best 3 fights in this were Such Speed and Ginger and Nestor versus Mentally Painful PvP, Tyler's and B-Boy. Now I feel like this was the most fight this season gets. Not a solo getting singled out, but 2 teams just battling it out. JD versus Tyler's, it was simple 1v1, and congrats to JD for taking home the dub, only for a little while. Huawei versus Mentally, it was quick, simple, and satisfying. Now for the star player of the season, it is easily Mentally. His entire team dominated, and there was no way someone else other than someone from their team was getting this spot. But I feel like Mentally in general was just the best of this team. Now in choosing the worst season, I was really torn, but what really sealed the deal for me was the moles. They just did nothing. Besides Hockey killing Alex, no one else did anything. Grape failed 3 times, Zyph and Tapel didn't do anything, and Painful PvP couldn't even kill B-Boy, despite having the kill handed to him on a silver platter. Now, as I said, this was a kind of crappy UHC because of the moles, or Grinches, but overall, I just don't like holiday UHCs, like, at all. It just feels like it's forcing a gimmick just to get a UHC out, because that's literally what this does. Get a 5th season of United out. And it really suffered because of it. Now, next is United UHC Season 7. The best 3 fights were Pikachu and Nikolai. Now, this was a very long fight, but it was good. It kept the intensity up, and watching this live, I was definitely on the edge of my seat, especially knowing that Pikachu had a Power 5. Now, Gwep versus Hannah. Now, this was a fight that was just pure UHC. Felt so natural and didn't have many things wrong with it. Like, yes, Gwep did get drained, but that's just the game. Fruit Bears versus Nestor. This is the real finale. I don't care if M's here with her Notch Apple. No, this was the real finale. Although Nestor was bow spammy, this felt like a good send-off to United UHC, albeit kind of scuffed. So the star player was Nikolai. Although Nikolai didn't win, he gave us some great fights with the aforementioned Pikachu, and also a flank. Now this season really just makes me sad. It had so much potential. But no offense to Nestor, but this just really felt like an ad for Nestor server. And it really showed the flaws of 1.14 UHC. There's a part of me who wished they fully committed to 1.14, but I understand why they didn't. There was just one fight that shows how flawed this season was. Gwep versus Ginger. Not only did Gwep get a totem from an evoker instead of crafting it, Ginger got lagged and couldn't eat his apple. But also Gwep did get lagged, but he just ate 2 apples. And this caused Ginger to die, which sucked, because Ginger was definitely going to win that fight. Though this also is very nitpicky. Greg was unable to use a notch, while M was able to use it. Doesn't really matter because he got gold for it, but still really dumb. This UHC just hurts me. It had such potential, but it just got thrown out the window because they just tried shoving way too much in at once. And overall, this makes it pretty bad in my opinion. United UHC Season 1, the first season, and it definitely went up from here. Kind of. Okay. Anyways, the best 3 fights are Grape versus Huawei. Showed they were both skilled players, but Huawei just outclassed Grape. Nestor versus Tyler's felt very intense and did not drag on at all. Huawei versus Such Speed, I don't have much to say. I wouldn't be just repeating myself. Nestor versus Tyler's. I don't know, just replay that so you don't have to look like I'm going to waste your time. As I spend more time on an unfunny joke, then I was repeating myself. Okay, the star player was Huawei, and they were able to clutch the win, made my choice very easy. An overall solid season. Was nothing that special about the first season, but I do think it helped a lot with the future seasons. That being said, said the ending was very underwhelming, and with the fact that they made such big gaps in gear in the season, the most early fights to mid fights ended up being very underwhelming, but with the One Pieces getting targeted one by one, it definitely picked up speed. Overall, considering that the first season and UHC ended up being very scuffed, this is a great job, and congratulations to Huawei. Now, Season 4. The best 3 fights were Brick versus AA12. Now, I know this sounds very random, and it is. But dang, for some reason does this fight just really click easily with me. I don't understand why. It just does. Mentally versus Nikolai, a great fight with nothing wrong about it, honestly. Nikolai versus Tyler's. Now, this fight makes it one of the best on the list because of Alex screaming for Nikolai to win. Alone, but overall, a very solid final fight. The star player was Nikolai. He had the most kills. What can I say? Nikolai was amazing this season. Okay, so for the season, I feel very mixed about it. I don't have anything wrong with it. Perfectly fine, but I think Nikolai definitely deserved the win over Tyler's. I feel like solos are just a little less enjoyable, in general lacking in chemistry and strategy. Overall, a perfectly fine season with barely any flaws. And I mean, how can you not dislike this season when you get to see Alex screaming at Tyler's? Now, next is United UHC Season 3. Best 3 fights were B-Boy and Solar versus Private Fearless, or Eyes, and Nikolai. Although most of the two had separate fights, they ended up in a very intense fight where all 4 of them were in a hole. Just a lot of Nikolai screaming, and some reason I find that super funny. Tyler's and Mendoza versus Private and Nikolai. Although it's sad to say Mendoza and Tyler's lose pretty quickly, especially because the only main player was a solo, still works for me. Nikolai versus Nestor. Now when it comes to some anime levels of revenge, although Nikolai could have just 2v1 Nestor, he chose to take revenge and prove he deserved this win. Star player is Nestor. Despite being a solo, he was able to stay alive and pick up some great kills. Now for this season, may be very high due to my love of laughs or love at first sight, but this season felt very satisfying, and although yes, the teams were a bit unbalanced and Nestor not having a teammate definitely hurt this season. That to be said, the final fight was just an honor 1v1 between Nestor and Nikolai. It doesn't hurt that season that much, and I have nothing to say. I really don't hate this season, so it takes number 3. Now, number 2 is Season 2. The best 3 fights were Defib versus entire team versus Landon. Like, I know this isn't really a fight, but how can you not think it's sick to see Defib destroy almost his entire team? Man, for some reason I feel like pearls don't fall faster. Anyways, Fukuno, I don't even know how to pronounce that. I wrote a script for this, and I just still don't know how to pronounce that. Shadow Apples and Nikolai versus Nestor, Private, Grape, and Tyler's. Although in the beginning of the end for Nikolai's team, Shadow Apples dropping so many graps make this fight very scuffed, I still quite enjoyed it. Nestor versus Nikolai versus Tyler's and Grape. The ultimate betrayal, or almost the ultimate betrayal, where Nestor and asks Tyler's to put the water down. Oh wait, no, wrong one. Anyways, Nestor working with Nikolai was just awesome and genius on Nestor's part. The star player was Defib. I mean, you know, the whole soloing his entire team, I think that just makes it obvious. This is an amazing season with the mole twist. We saw some amazing betrayals, especially when it came to Defib and his team, but Nestor played the amazing mind games. Just the fact that you know who the mole is and when you can strike. Anytime's awesome. Well, in Season 5, the moles did basically nothing. This season's mole did amazing and even won. Now, for number 1, if you guys can count, you know what this one is, but this was an easy pick for me. United UHC Season 6. Now, Grape versus Shadow Apples, and then King Tong versus Tibsy. Although I could see an argument for this being a really bad fight, but, I mean, even though it's like technically 2 separate fights, it is absolutely hilarious. Now, if you guys disagree with me, you guys can put your things in the comment below, and while you're down there, make sure you like and subscribe. Seriously, 86 of you guys aren't subscribed. Pain. As I was saying, we got something that's probably the funniest line of all of UHC. Of course, how'd I got a King Tong from the cube? Which is hilarious, and it gets me every single time. Ginger versus Eyes versus Wisp and Such Speed. Now I think this fight taught us a very good lesson. Flame is very overpowered, and it's nice to see Ginger get revenge on Wisp and Such Speed for killing Brick earlier in the season. And I mean, it led to one of the funniest deaths in United UHC, Isaac drowning. How? Okay, anyways, for the final battle, it's Tyler's versus Nikolai and Hannah. In terms of final battles, this season was very good. One of all, Tyler's tried very hard, and he ended up failing in light of the giant crash event falling down on him. It was a huge 2v1, and there wasn't much Tyler's could have ever done. Now, the star player here is Tyler's. Now, I think it's obvious why Tyler's is the star player. He's able to do really good, even though Zyper died super early to Grape, which, when I was watching the season, blew my mind. I thought Grape was gonna die and get destroyed. No, he killed Zyper somehow! Now that I've made apparent why I love this season so much, and love it at first sight, City World being added just made this season very entertaining and fun to watch. I mean, it seemed like they were just ahead, race to win, and overall, it ended very satisfyingly. I've said basically everything I need, the kills and the star player, so this is the best season upon rewatch. Thank you guys so much for 50 subscribers. Thank you for all the YouTubers that commented on my videos. And really, if it weren't for all the support I've been getting, this channel would not still be existing. So, thank you guys. Goodbye.